one of the reasons I got into studying relationships was because I wanted that, right? So I'm a scientist, but I also love art and I love writing and I love literature. I wanted to know that true love could be real. But as a scientist, I am cynical. I just need some data.
Mm.
And so I practice a type of therapy called the Gottman method. And I love that because it tends to be, well, it is one of the most evidence-based therapies we have based on John and Julie Gottman, two psychologists who have been researching relationships for now about 50 years. And this therapy happens to be for couples. They found that you absolutely can make longevity work in a relationship. You can build. You are not just settling for companionship, but you can have passion and intimacy and growing love and appreciation. But there is a blueprint, a set of skills that we were never given. We're not taught it in school. We changed the rules of the game and we haven't learned the rules yet.
And the Gottman method for couples therapy kind of gives you a few guidelines, the rules for the
Right.
longevity in a relationship.
Yeah, they did a beautiful job at taking these findings they had through, decades of research, quantifying it, and then codifying it into a therapy method. It's really skills-based. I tell couples when they're starting out with me that they're essentially going to be starting a class.
So what's the 5-to-1 golden rule? What I read is there's the kind of balance you can achieve of how many interactions you have in a relationship that are positive versus negative. And I think that's what the 5-to-1 means. But basically, there should be kind of an empirical, like if you just look back over a month, how many of the interactions were positive, how many
Or the
were negative?
day. Look at the day. Right? So the idea of this ratio, well, it's not an idea. It was a finding. It is a research finding that the Gottmans got after looking at thousands of couples and codifying these interactions that they were observing. Couples that tend to be satisfied in their relationships, that are happier, they have better health, etc., they are having approximately 5 positive interactions to each negative. And I want to be clear about what I'm defining as positive and negative here. So this doesn't necessarily mean that these don't need to be big, sweeping romantic gestures, buying flowers, having sex. These are things like paying attention to what we call your partner's bids. We make these bids for affection, for connection, all the time in our relationships, not just with our partners, but with our friends, our coworkers. And we may not even know what our style of bid is, but if you see them on a sheet, you can pretty quickly identify them. Bids could be wanting to show your partner, tell your partner something and have them be proud of you. It could be wanting to go buy groceries with your partner, doing things together. Hey, you want to come with me? It could be telling a joke and hoping that your wife looks up from her email on the computer and acknowledges it. If she laughs, then you've got a positive. But if I don't even look up, that's a negative, right? So it's not necessarily that I'm calling my husband an asshole. It's just, am I connecting with him? Am I meeting those bids for connection and vice versa?
But do those also give you a guide of how you should behave?
Well, I think what's really important is actually asking your partner or paying attention to what your partner's bids are, because what matters to Ty, my husband, may not matter to you. For instance, Ty's bar is so low with me. I thank God
in
for
terms
him.
of what defines a positive interaction?
Right. Like he just wants me to ask him if he wants a water when I get up to get myself one. Just be a basic, decent, considerate person is all he asks of me. Whereas mine might be sort of like stay up later with me, watch a show, go to bed at the same time as me, or know about the people in my life, that sort of a thing.